have you may have had certain settings or something for that other one, but maybe not. James, like,
I
no,
don't.
it's just,
I don't. You know everything is jerry rigged with me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So pretty basic, right? Just,
It's
just
very
a meeting,
basic.
a recurring
Just
meeting.
recurring, In fact, it's funny that you said that because right before this all started, I was like looking at a conversation I'd had uh, previously with somebody that actually has a truly professional setup. And I asked him like,
Mhm.
well, what software do you use for this type of stuff? And he gave me the name, and I was like, one day, one day I will use more professional stuff.
It's funny. One day,
One
one
day.
day, man.
I tell
Man,
you, that loss from last night, I didn't even watch the game, but golly.
I was gonna ask you if Auburn pulled it out. No.
No, 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 no.
Last time I saw the score, I think it was 7-0. California was up.
The final score was 21-14.
Oh, that's not bad though.
But they
Maybe
lost to
California.
California.
I mean, still, California's still a Division I school, and every once in a while, I mean, it's still in the pack. It's not the Pac-12 anymore. I don't know what it is, but yeah, they're still out
It's
there. The
Pac-10 now?
Pacific, the Pacific Coast Conference. I don't know because just as like USC and some other schools left, now they've got some new schools. So I don't know how many they got out there.
I tell you,
Because
that's
they,
big business, man. That
oh
stuff.
yeah, oh yeah, man.
I mean, think about how much money they've been making for decades,
Yeah, yeah, man.
at least a generation, you know?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. All of these realignments, man. The SEC now with Texas and Oklahoma.
Hmm.
And then it's interesting. I remember when we got Missouri and Texas A&M some years
Yeah,
ago, and that was a good addition, especially I mean, football was cool. Because Texas A&M had so many students, they got a lot of money. It's a lot that they
right,
brought. Missouri, um, from a fan standpoint, from a stadium standpoint, didn't have as much, but man, they have always had great programs to me. Like
right.
look, basketball and football. Now Missouri is really showing that. You look
Yeah.
at them in football, they they they've gotten good.
Well,
Yeah, man.
now with the SEC, you've got Texas in the mix now too, right?
Exactly. Texas and Oklahoma. And
Right.
now like USC, the Trojans out of California, I think they joined, man, I think they're like with the Ohio State. I think they joined like the Big Ten. That's crazy.
Figure
Like
that.
they joined a conference that was historically
Isn't
Middle
Ohio
Eastern
nowhere
states.
near?
That's what I'm saying. The middle, I mean, I said the Middle East. I said the Midwest. I meant the Midwest. Yeah, states.
I don't know how they do that, man.
That's crazy.
That's got to be based off of votes, maybe.
Man, like you said, it's talking about big money. This alignment stuff is all about it's just aligning
Yeah.
with where they can make the most money off of television and fans
Right.
and
Right.
that kind of thing. So
Well, you talk about
yeah.
big money, you got to talk about the NIL. That has
Oh
changed
yeah.
the landscape of college, not just football, but college sports forever.
Forever, man. I think I think Nick Saban was saying something about it the other day. I like what he said. Um, have you heard of the clothing company that Jalen Milroe, the quarterback for Alabama, it was a former player. Jalen Milroe, the former player, he's the guys in the NFL now. They started this clothing company called Lank. It stands for Let All Naysayers Know, and the University of Alabama actually got behind it and helped them get licensure and all that kind of stuff. So it was like a
Uh,
initiative through the college, but that was led by the players, and it was actually something Nick Saban used to say. And so these two players had the majority of the ownership, but University of Alabama has a piece, that kind of
Yes.
thing. And I
That.
thought that was very, very good. And that's what Nick Saban was saying. He was like, this is the kind of stuff, NIL was really made for. It
Right.
was made for these kind of partnerships, giving
Right.
students opportunities to use not just their, skill on the field, but just their own ingenuity and everything, their own creativity, and use that along with what they can do on the field to make
Right.
build brands for themselves. And he was saying he'd like to see more of that as opposed to, colleges basically paying players to come through the
Right.
portal. So
Right.
we'll see. Hopefully it does evolve into something, that structure where students take advantage of, the entrepreneurial side of things and, say, hey, let me learn how to leverage this for myself, kind of thing. And a lot of them are, a lot of them are, but a lot of right now, a lot of colleges just basically say, hey, we'll give you this much in deals, if you come
Right.
here.
Right.
You know.
Well, the one good thing out of this whole NIL thing is being able to see NCAA football come back, and actually seeing the actual players' names on the jerseys. To
Yeah.
me, that's the
That
coolest
is
thing ever,
cool.
man.
That
I
is
think
cool.
I know most people will be like, well, money, blah, 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 but like, it's like you don't understand the previous versions of NCAA football. You couldn't have like
Yeah.
Bo Jackson on name on the jersey. You
Right.
couldn't have all
Yep.
that crazy stuff because
That
you
is cool.
now you can have it on there, and then that can eventually graduate to hopefully having like they do with NBA 2K, where you have previous years, previous
Yeah.
players.
Oh man, that would
Can
be too cool.
how much it opens up that door to say, okay, you can have like the Auburn team of 1978 with the prime Bo Jackson playing
Right.
it. That's
Exactly.
and
The
again, that's to
That's
me is what
fun.
that's gonna make it so much fun.
Yeah,
That's gonna be so
for
fun.
sure. For sure. Cause yeah, I remember playing back in the day, man, you speculate. You look at the
Right.
number, be like, yeah, that looks like him. So
Yeah,
that's who I'm
that
playing
that
with.
plays like Cam Newton, but that's not Cam Newton. That's not Cam Newton. But see, oh, and it opens that door for the more recent players
Yeah.
like Cam
Yeah.
Newton, Johnny Manziel, all
All
these
those.
great old teams and things like very
Yeah.
recent
The
generations.
yeah, the USC and the Auburns of 2004.
Oh,
Those
geez,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, when we
good.
got
Yeah,
snubbed, when
man,
Auburn
that's a
got
joke.
snubbed. Hey, but you know what? I can't even feel that bad because Auburn did get them a championship with in 2010, and then they made
Yes,
it back to the championship game
yes.
2014.
Well,
Got
the
the
way revisionist history works, they'll probably end up giving a title to Auburn for '04.
yeah, yeah. I mean, especially yeah, man. I think who was it? It was Ohio State and Oklahoma, I want to say, and
Yeah,
one of them got smoked. I think it was.
yeah,
I don't remember who smoked the other, but when you watched that game, you were like, "Yep, should have been Auburn there."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Uh, but Drew Brees, had an opportunity to listen him speak at the Faulkner does that annual dinner that they do.
Hmm.
They bring in significant people. They had Dr. Ben Carson one year years ago, but Drew Brees, I think he spoke either last year or the year before. But and his thoughts on the NIL was that the players shouldn't get access to the money right away, or at
Hmm.
least not all of it. A good chunk of it should be put into like some type of wealth building uh, fund that they don't have a chance to touch until either they're out of college or um, a time that they choose. And I think that's actually better because I think of the ESPN documentary Broke years
Yeah,
ago
I
that they
remember that
did
one.
that. Yeah, and just how these professional athletes blew through their money, and it's you run through that same scenario with these college kids, and
Yeah,
that's even more important because they're college kids. If
they're
you gave them access
kids.
to money now, what are they going to do with it now? They're going to blow it through it now.
Right, right. And even though the argument somebody might make is, well, they're adults, they're 18, like you
No,
said,
they're
at the end
not.
of the day, they're kids. First of all, if we want to get into psychology, a young man's brain doesn't develop until like mid-20s fully developed.
That's
First
what the
of all,
research is
that's
showing.
what the
Yeah,
research says. And then just to your point, I do think if you even asked the opinion of well, Drew Brees, professional athlete, and I think other professional athletes, they would probably, share the same sentiments.
that's
And
a good point.
and a lot of these kids that's playing for these major schools, a lot of them didn't get financial education in
That's
high
right.
school. Unfortunately, a lot of
Yes.
public schools don't teach it for
E-
whatever reason,
even even if you're not an athlete, you didn't get a proper
You
financial
didn't get
education.
exactly,
And
exactly.
it's only here recently that, people like Dave Ramsey and aside from Dave Ramsey, I'm pretty sure there are other personal finance experts that are advocating to put these types of curriculums into schools. And I
Yeah.
think there was a time when
It
maybe
was.
early
It
80s, 70s when
yeah,
it
it
was
was.
very briefly
We
talked
got away
about,
from it. Yeah.
that they did talk about, hey, this is how you balance a checkbook, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and it's very important to know these life skills because these things they translate into whatever profession you want to take, even if it's something like comedy, even if it's something like being
Exactly.
a pipe fitter, even if it's something like
Exactly.
being a Wall Street professional. You'd be
I,
surprised how many people that work in the financial industry,
that's
they sell the product of finances, but do they themselves
do they
manage their
use it?
finances well?
Right. And James, let's be real. If
I
if
love it
if
when we're
it,
real.
yeah, man, we gotta stay real. Look, so if we had gotten a proper financial education, say from middle through high school, like proper where we came out of high school with a mindset to save and invest for retirement, really truly, you and I probably would not, no, I'm not even gonna say probably, yeah, most likely we would not have to work right now at this point, or we would have something where we would have the liberty to not work as much. I mean, let's be real, because we've had money come through our hands that if we invested from, I'm talking about from 18, 19, like 18, 19 years old, we know just looking at compound interest, if we had just invested a little bit a month, we'd have quite a bit of money right now.
Well, let me take it an extra layer further.
Yeah.
So this is something, and the reason why I'm kind of pausing on this as I'm putting it all together in mind, because I'm trying to speak to my kids and my kids' kids.
Hmm.
Before I say the next thing that I say, the I would not only just teach them about saving for their retirement, but I was also teach them about how to produce now,
Yeah. Yeah.
not just the retirement, but now.
Hmm.
So most people, when they think about assets, they are thinking about the future. They're thinking about, retirement, which is, I mean, good God. I mean, that's just as important as anything else because some people don't even think about retirement. They don't think
Yeah.
about having to do an early retirement.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say that's why the percentage is so high of folks that are retirement age that don't have adequate retirements. Like, isn't it
right.
like 90% or something like that of
Hmm.
Americans? It's like crazy.
Some Americans don't even have, I don't know the percentage, they don't even have $1,000 liquid.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
thousand dollars liquid. The baseline minimum of $1,000 liquid.
yeah,
Thank God I do. Uh,
yeah.
so, but an extra layer beyond that, and this is assuming that our ecosystem doesn't collapse. I
Hmm.
watched Terminator Zero, the anime,
Hmm.
on
Hmm.
Netflix. So, I'm
Yeah.
not going to go down that road because I'll go into an anime rabbit hole forever, and then he'll be like, "James, we ain't got time for that." It's like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Um, they also need to understand that an asset can produce income right now. Cash flow is lifeblood. It's necessary. There's two ways to handle an asset. You can either liquidate it for capital gains, So the unrealized capital gains tax, which I've heard tossed around, is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Mm,
Because why would you tax unrealized capital gains? You're not just hurting the youth who are, they're trying to build their wealth. You're hurting the people that have already earned their wealth, your
hmm.
retirement, people that have like unrealized capital gains tax. And unless they specify what that is, no, so but you shouldn't even do that, period. You shouldn't even say, well, if you have a net worth $100 million, you're going to unrealized capital gains tax. No, because second you open that door, it's going to start trickling down.
Yeah.
It's going to hit everybody across the board. So imagine if it hits somebody 80 years old, bought their house in 1940, you know, it's for $20,000. It's now worth $2 million. You're going to tax them on that? No, man. Especially if they're living on a fixed income. They've
Right.
earned
It
that
is
wealth. Don't
yeah.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
another way to handle the asset because the asset is part of the balance sheet. And so it moves into the income statement. When you sell it, this is in essence what you're doing with your retirement. You're selling off pieces of the asset to create the income which you use to live off of.
Mm,
So that's one way. The
right.
second way is the cash flow side of it. That's why you advocate for income producing assets. That's what Robert Kiyosaki advocates for, is income producing assets. So I would teach my children and my children's children, assuming that this society stays within its current structure, that you would want to, yes, save for retirement, but also look to invest alongside your job, which is an asset for you because it produces income. If you look at a very loose definition, look to acquire other assets that are going to produce income right now. Now, you argue that a savings account is an income producing asset because you put $1,000 into a savings account, daily accrual of interest, high yield savings account, it's producing money. You just have to, again, this goes back to personal finance education, understanding how the legal structures, how the accounting structures, how these things work together to help lower your overall tax liability. And this is way too early in the morning for me to be talking like this.
Hey, keep it up. Somebody's gonna be watching this in the prime of the day.
Well, I hopefully my kids would want to watch this and find some type of value out of it and say, oh, well, Dad's been
Yeah.
talking about this for years. I'm so tired of hearing him
That's
say
right.
that. But at the end of the day, the people that need to hear this, whether you're young and old, they just don't think about the how important money is. I mean, I think in the Holy Bible, money is mentioned over 200 times, the subject of money.
Mm,
I
yeah,
think
probably.
I could be wrong, but the reason why it's mentioned so much is because Jesus understood that we needed money to exist in society. He grew up as a carpenter,
Hmm.
grew up as a business person, on the streets,
Right.
having to earn his keep, his money. And
Right.
even though he did perform miracles, he understood humanity. He understood humanity in the deepest way possible. He understood that
Right.
there are phases to farming. The sowing and the reaping, the time involved before you can actually reap the harvest, because they didn't have the technology that we have now to grow crops. And even then, you still have to work the land. And
Right.
carpentry, you got to figure out how to put this thing together, and all that, man. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's important. We have to be good stewards of what he's given us dominion over, and we have to be mindful of how can we produce more because we're supposed to be fruitful and multiply. You
Right.
know,
And when I think about just being a good steward of money, that's one of the I mean, I can't think of many other disciplines, that really that really show or just display I the level of integrity, character, planning, etc., as you know, being a good steward of your money does. Because with money, it's kind of funny because it's like we want everybody wants to, you know, live in the moment. And that's a good thing, to live in the moment. So many of so many people can be so focused on the future that they're not living in the moment. So living in the moment is great, but living in the moment oftentimes requires money. So the challenge is to live in the moment properly while building for the future. And the Bible in Proverbs talks about the ant. And this metaphor, this analogy can be used in many different ways, but talks about how the ant be more like the ant. It's talking about the sluggers, and be more like the ant who plans basically in season, out of season. When it's out of season, they're building so that they have a harvest for when it's time to have that harvest. And so even relating that back to money and it's just like constantly setting stuff aside. It's almost like the person who wants to be fit, wants to be physically fit, where there's certain things that you got to do for your diet and exercise. Well, the same thing with your money. And it is a conscious effort. It is something you have to think about weekly and daily, how you're spending, but it's such a necessary discipline. But again, it's a discipline, and it's probably top three hardest disciplines, if not the hardest, when I think about it, in terms of mastering in this life, because everybody wants to live in the moment. You want to have some type of instant gratification. I want this, I'm gonna buy it. This is how I feel today. I'm gonna buy this food because right now my emotions are saying this. So I'm hungry and I've got a taste for this. Okay, but what about a year from now? Where are your goals? How does how you're spending money every day translate to that?
Well, I yeah, when you said that, that made me immediately think of the opposite between how sometimes how a man and a woman can think about the especially when it comes to the most basic thing, which is food. Okay,
Hmm.
so it makes me think of Domino Effect, Ali Siddiq, the very first of his four-part. He's made four so far, but the first one where he's talking about crabs,
Oh
talking about the crab boil.
man, it was funny.
Huh? He's talking about the
It's
crab boil.
hilarious.
He's talking about the crabs. I'm talking about his mom, her response to him wanting to get crabs, and she's like, "Do you want to eat for a day, or you want to eat for a month?" Or and so he's like, "Oh, jeez." He asked dad
Yeah.
same question. It was like
Get the,
15 pounds.
yeah,
It's like,
get
"Oh,
that
we're
boy
gonna
some.
eat for we're gonna eat for a
He was
long
like,
time." Talking about the
yeah, he
difference
was, yeah,
between
yeah,
mom and dad is like fun. And
exactly.
that is, I mean, that's man. That's the duality of man right there. The how much
Yeah,
a man needs a woman needs a man, because a lady will think about what? Security,
yeah,
safety, life and death, the home, protecting the home, providing her a home,
that's so
because if you
true.
think about, a lady has carried a baby 9 months in her body, that
Yeah,
nurturing safety, if they're like a normal sane mother, just the assumption, and then that they give birth to this baby that they've carried in their womb, they're going to want safety, protection, protect the baby, protect the home, and
that's
the
so
guy's out
true.
there just doing his thing, just going out
Right.
there having fun, being
That,
wild,
that
and
that's so true.
yeah.
And the fact that you said that, now I can really relate it to like the lion and the lioness, because the lioness is the hunter, she's planning, and the lion, the male lion, he's there to protect the pride, but that lioness is the one that's thinking through,
Right,
all right, what does my family need? So that's
right.
interesting. That's an
Yes,
interesting concept.
yes. But
Yeah.
also too, that's a good point that you made because Jill made that same point too. When I said talks about hunter-gatherer, the guy going out and killing it, she's like, well, the lioness, that's what the lioness does. Well, the lioness's intention, what the lioness is doing is protecting, providing for the family.
Hmm.
They're the household, but the lion's protecting the pride.
Right. Right.
So, that's a very because most I can't, and I haven't watched a lot of documentaries about lions, but from what I remember, a lion's pretty much just kind of sitting up there, kind of sleeping on the rock, kind of doing his thing, kind of relaxing and all that. Not a lot of action, not a lot of thing. But when it comes to protecting the
You're right.
pride, like
That's when
truly
it's
protecting the pride, that's when it's on.
yep. That's when it's
Yeah.
on. That's when um
Did you know
but
they're
yeah,
making a sequel to The Lion King?
no,
A
I
live
did
action sequel.
oh. Oh, like what does that mean?
Well, you remember there was a Lion King 2 that they did
Hmm.
animated, okay?
Right.
But this is a sequel to The Lion King live action, but it's
Oh,
set as a prequel prior to The Lion King.
oh my gosh.
And
Now
it's
that's
set
cool.
telling the story of Mufasa and Scar.
Oh man, that's
It
great.
it
They
gives me
do it.
chills just telling
They
about it.
they're
It's
doing
unique. It's
they're
unique.
and they're pulling the Star Wars on us.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And you
And
know, I'm excited. And I don't know, your children may like this. I know mine. I know they're a little younger, but mine loved Moana, and they're coming out with the part two Moana in
yes,
November.
yes,
Yeah, December, I think it is.
yes.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't even watched Moana 1. Is it worth watching?
Oh, it's worth it, man. It's really
Okay.
good. Yeah, it's
Haven't even
really
watched
good.
what's that other one they've done
Yeah.
for Frozen. Haven't watched Frozen.
Yeah. You know how the Disney is. It's like Disney has things, of course, that are like kids enjoy, but
Yeah.
not entirely biblical. The magic, all that kind of stuff. So that's
Yeah.
the only thing, but it's not anything
No, I don't take that all that stuff
outlandish. No,
seriously. Yeah,
I was just saying like one of this like one thing. The one main character is a demigod or whatever. So
yeah.
he's supposed to be, but that's that culture. He's supposed to be he was created from the land and something else. But no, it's good. It's just li little things here and there. But yeah. No, I'm just
Yeah.
forewarning. But no, it's cool. It's great. I really enjoy the
Oh,
movie.
well,
Yeah,
what I find interesting about humanity is always reaching and searching for its source and
yeah,
understanding of the
yeah,
source of its own existence. So we have inherently built inside of us a hunger for the spiritual.
yeah. This
Always.
is true. This is true.
This is something that we were from the day
Yeah.
we were born, we have it inside us.
Right.
It is.
Right.
If you look throughout, I've got a book. Yeah, there it is. There's the book.
Oh, by the way, while you're getting that, if you have not seen this movie, check it out. The Rescue. It's on I don't know. I think it was Netflix. I'm not sure, but anyway, it is actual footage from the 2018 rescue of the boys soccer
From
team
the
in
down at the
India.
cave in Thailand.
Yeah, man. Oh, and yeah, Thailand. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So
Thailand.
this is a book that I read when I was in freshman year of college at Hampton, Sydney, and it is called The World's Wisdom. And
Mm.
it is has sacred texts from all of the world's religions.
Oh, wow.
So it's got Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and also the primal religions.
Mm.
And so I've had this
Wow.
book for a long, long time, long time. And yeah, this one is. So we rented a storage unit.
Mhm. Oh, because you got all this stuff.
No, 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 because we're
No?
converting this front room
Oh, yeah,
into,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So we,
Yeah.
we rented a storage unit. So my ass has been climbing up in in the attic and pulling stuff down. And, I've fought so long about getting a storage unit. And now that we've got a storage unit, I'm like, this isn't too bad. This isn't too bad at all. Don't let me turn into that guy. Because my parents, they literally had
Don't turn into that guy. I know
10 by 24 storage unit and literally right across the hall, an even smaller storage unit. They packed it with all that
look,
stuff.
man. Look, I'm gonna tell you,
Don't let me turn into that
my
guy, man.
for my own protection, not gonna tell you which family this is, but just
I
close
already know which
family.
family, yeah.
Okay, well, for my
I
protection,
know.
close family cleaned out their garage. Had a storage unit, like a trailer storage unit built into their backyard, and they
Yeah.
cleaned out the garage, put all that stuff in the storage unit, and it was and then after that, they basically had made space in their garage to rebuild, like to clutter it up all
Again,
over again. And now, yeah, it's just like a cycle. It's like the
an
storage
endless
unit,
cycle.
an endless cycle. The storage unit
Like,
has so much stuff in it.
here's the caveat. Here's the caveat. The only way I will have a storage unit like that is if I actually own a storage unit facility.
Mm,
If I have
yeah.
my own cash flowing storage unit facility, we can have a storage unit. We can fill every single freaking one of them up as long as we got enough cash flow to pay for those two damn units.
Right, right. Man, I
So I,
tell
I
you,
didn't even think about that, bro. But that's yeah, if I win the lottery, okay, I'll buy a storage unit facility.
that would be
Have
good, man.
somebody else operate it, manage it, whatever. I don't care.
Cause
They'll be on there.
you'll have business.
Yeah, I know. They
You'll
did a
have
documentary
business.
about it. They did a documentary about that. It was about minimalism, and they were talking about the intro of it. They were talking about the statistics of people that have storage unit.
Man,
Man, I mean that's 200. That's $200 a month.
yeah,
Man,
man.
it's nice though. It's a nice storage unit. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. Like it's again, it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. That wealth, man. We live in the greatest country in the world, in the greatest
no,
time in the world. So much prosperity.
right. You know, it's interesting though. You mentioned minimalism and things like that. I think about how, with our kids, there's so much sentimental value. But one
Yeah,
thing that me and my wife, I think we both tried to make a conscious effort uh to let go. Even though our kids are still young, there's a lot of things
I'm glad
uh
you're doing that.
yeah, we'll acquire. Then we
Yeah,
get to a moment where it's like, okay, this was a great memory, this and that. And we'll throw it out. And I know for me, I'm trying to live in the moment as much as possible. So it's nice to have memories. I got pictures, we got pictures,
yeah,
things like that.
yeah,
But as far as a lot of the things that come along eventually, we do try to throw them out
yeah,
so we're not just building up so much. And it's hard. It's still kind of hard because it's like, oh, this was from this and that. But
yeah,
and we do keep a few of those items. No, we keep a
yeah.
few. But yeah, just trying to keep living in the moment while only looking back in the future, not just building these monuments to the past.
Right, right. And it's definitely a balance because even back during the times of the Old Testament, what did they do?
Yeah,
They used stones to erect these pillars as monuments to
right,
the past to
right,
help you
right,
remember the things of the past because the past is very
right,
important because if you tear down your
right.
monuments, you have no remembrance of very important past events. So by accident, one of the memory boxes fell from the attic and it fell and it opened and all stuff spilled out of it. And so I didn't remember what was inside of that memory box, but inside of it was stuff that I wrote when I was a kid.
Mm.
You see,
Yeah,
some of the physical objects that we have, because we haven't digitized it and some of it we can't. These are these are relics that will help my kids, some grandkids and grandkids after understand like, oh, my ancestor, this is how he thought. This is what he wrote at
Yeah.
10, at 5, at 20, at 14. These, again, Jill would call me crazy for holding on to some of this garbage, but inherently that's the hoarder in me passed on from my parents to me because my parents were born, dad was born in 49, mom was born in 42. That's the only way you couldn't, you had to hold on to some of these because they may or most likely not are going to have any monetary value, goes back to
Hmm.
money, and B, these are just things that they've had passed down to them, and they actually do have some type of spiritual, emotional connection to them. And again, it's a balance. It's a balance because what's to say that society doesn't get disrupted in some major way, and you need some of these tools and objects that you have in the
Right.
past. Again, you just don't know. You don't
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
it's a balance. And again, you can't keep all of it. Some of it I am discarding, and some of them I resentfully discarded and kind of still hold a grudge about, for the most
Yeah.
part. But I'm just amazed that, you know, that we have this ability to be able to do this because I'm very thankful for it because, it's we can literally watch somebody else's life on the internet in a
Right.
completely different portion of the world, you
It's
know?
amazing, man.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
We live in a definitely a time of major convenience in terms of just accessibility to things, to resources and information and experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got to think
Experiences.
about if you got a little, not even a whole lot of money these days, if you
Hmm.
got a little bit of money, I mean, you can fly pretty much anywhere in the world, you want to, with a few
Hmm.
couple thousand
Hmm.
dollars.
Hmm.
You fly and stay somewhere. Might not be the
Yeah.
nicest place, but have somewhere to stay anywhere in the world.
Or
That's
stay in the
amazing, man.
nicest place, or
Or
stay
the
in the
nice,
nicest,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
because they got
experience a
so
luxury
many
you've never even
deals. Yeah,
experienced. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
um, I just think that you look at, well, let me ask you this: what you think about Ali Siddiq's the domino effect? What do you think about
For one, let me describe it like this. For one, I thought it was masterfully done. He's got this, we talk about the art of just you think about conversation. He's got a way of just telling a story that is so effortless and natural.
Yes.
And then what I love is he tells it effortless and natural, but his comedic timing with his
Yes,
facial
delivery.
delivery, his facial expressions to just how he just his again his time and how he pauses, the looks he gives you. Oh my goodness. It was hilarious. Like I said, it was
And
probably
this is
yeah,
a set too. This is something that he like does.
yeah,
That's the
man.
crazy thing to me.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I've,
great.
I've grown a greater appreciation for comedy as a result of getting hooked into watching podcasting. I've, you know, listened to certain guests talk, and so it took me down the rabbit hole of looking up their comedy and starting to watch stand-up comedy. And I am by no means a comedian. I leave that to the professionals. But the one word that they used to describe him was prolific.
Mm.
Prolific. And I've heard that word. I don't know the definition of that word, but I looked it up, and it is causing abundant growth, generation, or reproduction, marked by abundant inventiveness or productivity. You
Wow.
know, it's fertile. And so, which is interesting about they use the word prolific to describe them. Two different people use that word. Now, I don't know if they use that word because of they heard somebody else use the word the first time, but
Don't forget
prolific.
don't forget I haven't seen anything past episode 1, so don't
No, no,
spoil
no,
it.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no, no,
okay,
no, no, no,
okay,
no, 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 no,
okay,
no. I'm only telling you something about him,
okay,
not
okay,
anything related to that. But he
okay.
actually is, he has a garden, looks a farm.
Hmm.
So prolific, producing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
word they use to describe him, not knowing that he that's what he likes to do.
Oh wow,
So, that's what I'm saying. And
that's
so last
interesting.
night, Jill and so I've been bugging Jill about, we need to do some more things together. We need to do some more things together. So last night started watching Domino Effect.
Hmm.
So the wonderful thing of what I love about this format and specials being on YouTube, I have been listening to the Domino Effect. I didn't actually have a chance to actually watch the Domino Effect and I'm listening
Oh,
to
so
the
you didn't
crowd
get
react.
his facial expressions and all that?
No, no.
Oh
So it just adds
wow.
this, it's like food. It is like
Yeah.
food. It added another layer to the complexity of the dish itself. It added
Wow.
something
Yeah.
extra to that dish, man. I just this facial expression.
That's what I'm saying, man. Notice that was one of the things I
And
described.
it's
Like,
very physical comedy,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
How can you? He's worth
right.
he's worth
Oh
every
yeah.
penny. Worth
Completely,
every
man.
penny.
Completely.
Yeah, yeah. 9 million views on one of them.
Yeah.
9 million views.
Yeah. And growing. And it should, because people
It
should see
should.
him. Yeah.
People should see him. He
Yeah,
doesn't need
man.
the Hollywood money. Doesn't need
Mm.
it. I mean, but to put it in perspective, Baby Shark, the song Baby Shark. Do you know how
Hmm.
many views that has now?
Billions, like what, 4 or 5 billion?
I
At
think
least.
at
Maybe
least I
it's
maybe
probably
a
in the
10.
tens. Yeah, it's
10,
probably in
yeah.
the tens. Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane. Baby Shark.
Yeah.
Baby Shark.
It is. It is.
And
They really got something when they got that.
yeah,
They really
yeah. And
Eh,
think about it too. It fits everything within the content. Like it will never be deplatformed ever. So
right.
that's why it's got so many views. It's for kids.
Hmm.
It is targeted towards kids. And as you have more and more kids, you get more and more views. So
That's right.
it just feeds on top of itself.
So and it goes back to what you were saying earlier about creating income, from assets, and that's a type of asset, digital asset.
Always.
And so and I wanted to tie that back to my students, my math students was interesting as whereas, learning, you know, algebra, learning pre-calculus is not as intuitive. They all, actually hunger to learn about finances, and that's something they asked me about. So, like, we're gonna be doing a project that has to do with investment and using some formulas to the
Calculate. Yeah.
simple interest formula versus compound interest formula. And I want them
Hmm.
to we're gonna look at some mutual funds and some different investments and things like
Hmm.
that. But they really do hunger for that. And I think sometimes it's hard for them to, get an understanding of why are we learning this stuff and not the financial stuff? And I get it because they should. We
Right.
should be learning the financial stuff. And so what I'm doing,
But the
of course,
math is involved in the financial stuff.
the math is involved in the financial stuff. And so, I'm going to make sure I incorporate the real life applications. And yeah, a lot of times they don't understand that the math also helps them to develop a higher order of thinking. And that's what I try to tell them at the end of the
Mm,
day. I say, so even
mm,
if you don't go into a
mm,
field where you're going to use this in particular, the idea behind this is if you can meet this challenge, if you can help your brain grow through this,
mm,
there's other things in this life that you're gonna be in position to get to receive and to be able to push past. There's gonna be certain things that you can do that others will not be able to do because you push the capacity of your mind. And so that's kind
mm.
of how I encourage them. But anyway, I was just tying it back to to that, and you're talking about the assets, because one of the things that I haven't told them about me, and I told them at the beginning of the year, they find out more about me as we go along, but I haven't shared with them the entrepreneurial side, the
Right.
books and the clothing line and things like this. And I think, as I do, along with teaching them, these different concepts, and us spending time with the assets and all that kind of stuff, I think it's gonna help a lot of them to just jail with some, to connect the dots for themselves, hopefully. So, yeah.
So you think the oh, it's so funny. That's way you know it. The suits, the powers that be, the senior management, the upper level, the decision makers will give you the green light to kind of share that side of you. Because I
Completely.
know there's a bureaucracy in
Com
place, you know.
completely. Here's what I love
Yeah. Yeah.
about where I am.
Okay. Because you know, in a public school system setting, it's a rigid institution.
Completely. And that's what, me coming from that, there's a total contrast. For one, uh I work at a true Christian school. And what I mean by that is the people that run the school are believers who are visionaries and who can discern what students need and can discern the spirit of the people they have working with them. There's been a lot of prayer, fasting, a lot of things
Oh,
that have
fasting.
gone.
Fasting. That's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
Very
well,
important.
and I'm speculating, but I'm sure, I'm sure there's
Yeah,
been a
yeah,
whole lot of that, and on a consistent basis. Matter of
yeah.
fact, no, they do that. Like, actually, the leaders do meet and pray and fast, believe, on a weekly, basis, for this school. That's something they do, man. And so, um, no, they're very open, to the spirit of God when it comes to how we can connect with the young men of the school,
Mm,
how we can communicate that to them. And so, um they've been open. I've told you about, the verbal agreement, even with using some of the resources from my nonprofit, which we've already
right,
started that process, that
right,
because
right.
they're about what's going to work. And again, I think when we talk about being of one spirit, we know, we're able to discern what's behind it, that kind of thing. So yes, when we're talking about the clothing line, I could even see us having a partnership with my clothing line, and they're some of the things that they do. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
could see that possibility, because again, it's for a bigger purpose, at the end of the day. And I just thank God for the opportunity, man, to be there and to be kind of at the disposal of just the vision of this school, man. So,
Well,
yeah, man.
Lord Jesus, I hope his hands on you and you continue to favor and prosper and give supernatural favor upon you so that you can kind of continue to grow in this mission and work that you're doing.
Amen. I receive it.
And
Amen.
you know, this is somebody I don't think I didn't realize first off that he's been in the industry as long as he has, but he has a pretty strong faith background, Marlon Wayans.
Mm.
Now he was on Shannon Sharp does Club Shay Shay.
Oh yeah.
So
We know Club Shay Shay.
well Marlon is on I don't know if it's the most recent episode, but the episode before that.
Hmm.
And he's talking about his background because we talked about In Living Color. Did you realize it was
Right.
only on for 4 seasons?
Wow, I did not, man. I did
Just
not
four.
realize.
That's
Wow.
it. And
Wow.
it's one of the most influential.
Yes,
Like
completely. Yeah.
like he started like naming off all the people, and we kind of casually mentioned Jamie Foxx and
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Well, I mean, this episode's just it's so amazing because it takes you behind the curtain of Marlon. You know, he's the youngest out of the Wayans kids, and you just learn so much about the Wayans family
Yeah.
that you
Did you
didn't
know
know about.
did you know Keenan, the producer, went
Mhm.
to Tuskegee?
I did not know that.
So if I'm not mistaken, he went to Tuskegee. I'm not sure he graduated. I think one of them graduated. But I think one of the brothers, if it wasn't, I want to say, and he may not have graduated, but I want to say, you know what? I'm not gonna say anybody else came. I'm just gonna say him and we'll look it up. But yeah,
Okay.
at least one of them went to Tuskegee for,
Okay.
I'll say, at least some time.
There's like 10 kids, man.
Yeah,
10
yeah,
kids. And
yeah.
so he's talking about how good his family is. I mean, it's worth watching. It's worth watching. He has a kid, he has a Christian background, and just the value systems and the things that he's learned. And the guy's, you know that Marlon's like in his 50s now?
Yeah, yeah, he done
If
took
he's
it,
in his
man.
50s, then Keenan has got to be what, in his 70s?
At
60s?
least early 60s, at least, yeah.
Maybe
At
late
least.
because he's the oldest. He's the
He's
second
the
oldest
oldest.
of the Wayans,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? And it's just it was amazing listening and I haven't finished it yet, and I'm still
That
listening to it.
I'm gonna
But it's
check it
just
out because I actually saw it come
yeah,
through on my feed, my YouTube. Yesterday I saw it. It was
it's
posted
just
like 3 days
it's
ago.
amazing the work ethic, that the hustle that you have
Yeah.
to have. And that's the thing that we have to keep instilling in the youth. The work
Hmm.
ethic, the hustle, you know, it's not going to be given to you, even though it seems like it is. Don't take it if it's given to you. Go work for it, earn it,
And what's
get
funny
it.
about that, everything's a daily grind. Whether you got a structured 9 to 5 or you're doing, your entrepreneurial independent thing, and that's what the youth have to understand. Like you're either gonna be, working, under somebody for somebody like that, or even when you're working for yourself, you're still serving customers. So you're working towards that. But everything is a grind. It just how do you want your grind?
Yeah.
Because to be effective, it's just that a lot of times with the structured 9 to 5s, the one benefit is you got a little leeway in terms of your day to day. Maybe you're not on it as much as you should be a day. You got a little leeway especially depending on your boss, your supervisor. You doing it on your own. Hey, when you got to get out there and make it, you really don't have time for days off. Like you got to be on it
Yeah.
every day. And that's whether you're doing comedy or whether you're in sales. You got to be on it because it means
Yeah.
it's the difference between you being able to make ends meet.
Right. And that's that happened actually yesterday. It was around 4 or 5. I was taking something from the storage unit back to the house. I got a text from a realtor. We're working on a deal together, and he was, you know, yesterday, Saturday football, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Most are checked out. They're not thinking about that, but I know I have to be because I'm still young in the business. I
yeah.
have to be available, and That's all the that's all that some of these realtors are doing is they're testing. They're testing to see, you know, is he going to be available? Because once you get seasoned out enough, you really don't need as much. So you
Mhm.
kind of it's like, well, no, I'm not available. You know, I'm with my family. But you know, there's a way of saying it without, you know, being like that. So I'm like, okay. And then, you know, I talked to him, talked to the person that was wanting to buy the home, and just showed them that I'm available.
Right,
And that's
right,
ultimately what I need to show is that I am still who I am at the end of the day. Even though I'm not on the bank side anymore, I'm still that same person. I'm available to help. I'm in the customer service business at the end
right,
of the day. I'm delivering something that they've never experienced before.
right.
And
And
that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build that reputation.
that's interesting you say that, man, because even well, I'm gonna I guess make a comparison. Even when it
Please
comes to um, what I do with the refresh, refocus,
rebuild,
rebuild, yeah, with that line of products. One of the things that if I ever wanted to really grow, I'm gonna say proliferate since you used prolific earlier. If I ever wanted to proliferate, then um, what I have to do is make myself available on a regular basis. And so one of the things that I have said that I was gonna do was just be consistent with webinars every Sunday.
Mhm.
Sundays 6 p.m. Haven't started that yet, but that is the vision. That's the idea.
That's how
Um,
you build your base. Yeah,
exactly, and that's what I plan to do in the near future.
right.
Make myself available on a weekly basis with
Yes.
that. So yeah, man.
And, and here's how you can kind of make it um as part of your discipline or routine or your habit, whatever you want to call it. At the heart of it all, I love doing this. Like I genuinely love doing this. Whether it makes
Right,
any money or not, I love
right,
having a conversation. I genuinely love having a conversation.
right,
And it's helped me remain connected with people. It's helped me grow in my ability to conversate with people. It's helped me share stories. It's helped me in so many different ways, but I genuinely love it. Like that's
right,
like if I'm not having it with you, I'm like asking
right,
people, hey, can we do it? Can we
right,
do it? Can we do it? I like, and eventually it's going to get to a place where people are going to be asking me,
right.
can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? And also, too, it makes me be more consistent about putting episodes out.
Yeah,
You see, I
yeah,
have to because I keep asking. So it eventually it'll get to a place where it's consistently generating. But again, it's you know, it doesn't need to be a high expense thing, but that's also the other side of it. That's why I've created the Patreon version of this, where for people that are going to be insiders, they can kind of go inside a deeper dive, like a peek behind the curtain of how we think, the thought process,
right,
things like that. And that's, you know, there's
yeah,
different layers of this, but it's ultimately at the end of the day, it's conversations in different frames. That's all it is. It's a
right,
conversation.
right,
I love it. I enjoy doing this.
right,
This is a piece of the legacy that I have to give to my family. And
right.
I don't think Jill's watched a single episode of James and James.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure she hasn't. And it doesn't matter if she does or she doesn't. It's again, these are the things that we talk about, spiritual things, we talk about life things, we talk about what's going on in the world, we talk about funny things, we talk about
Right,
everything because that's
right,
all it is. It's just a conversation. And the more you fall in love with whatever that it is underneath it all, it helps you become more consistent about doing
right,
it. And
right,
again, consistency to me is not like I have to do it like every single day.
right.
Consistency to me is picking up and doing the thing again. That's consistent.
Exactly. Yeah. Just
It,
staying in the process. Just
yep.
just staying in
Staying in
the
the process.
process.
Exact. Going back to
You're
refresh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
refocus, and
yeah.
rebuild. Stay in
Stay.
the process. That's exactly what
Right,
you would always
right.
say is you got to stay in the
Stay in the
process.
process.
Stay in the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't picked up my running shoes in a long time, but I did pick them up.
There you go.
I don't know how many months ago, man. I
Yeah,
lost track, but
yeah.
I did put them on,
You put them
you know.
on.
So I got back in the process. I got back into the process. I didn't run,
That's right. That's right.
but
The
see
next
it
time you might,
the itch is in the back of my mind. Did you know that back in the day I used to run a 540 mile?
James. I'm just looking at you for effect. Like I don't believe you, but I do believe you. I do believe you, man. But gosh, man, I'm trying to look right now, man. I'm just trying to get under 10 minutes right now. I know we're older. We're much
Yeah,
older than we used to be.
yeah,
But yeah, man, if I do, because I do every Tuesday, Thursday, and then once on the weekend. I'm finna try to get mine in now, right before got to start getting ready for the day. But
yeah.
I do about on average, I run about a mile and a half when I do that 3 times a week.
You actually
And
run?
yeah, 3 times a week, Tuesdays,
Wow.
Thursdays, and either on a Saturday or Sunday, I
That's
do
impressive,
a
man.
mile and a half to 2 miles.
Yeah.
And on average, I run about I run a mile, 9.5 minutes a mile. So I'm
Like,
about, yeah, I'm just under
now,
10
is it
minutes.
like a true run, like you're trying to beat the time, or run like you just
Nah,
cardio
it's
work?
what I do. Yeah, just cardio. But
Yeah.
what I tend to do is the last quarter of a mile though, I sprint
You
it.
hit it?
I sprint
Yeah.
the last quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's trauma. I don't know what it is, man. I don't. I and did I ever tell you about the story? I was so in love with basketball that I was up at Hampton, Sydney at the time, and the gym was locked. It was in the 40s at best. At worst, maybe the 20s or 30s. I was out there just shooting ball outside in the outdoor courts because I just had the itch, and the
Yeah.
gym was closed.
I think you
I
so.
wanted to
Yeah,
play. God, I loved basketball so
I
much. It
did
was a
too, man.
religion. It was such a religion for me. I
I
actually
had
wrote a journal that had like the examine the process of shooting. Like I've got it somewhere, man.
yeah.
I was gonna find a way to turn basketball into a religion. That's how crazy I
Yeah,
was. Am.
I believe it.
Still am.
Well, hey, it's honestly it's still a religion for so many people. Do you remember the movie If Heaven Was a Playground? If not, check it out, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you remember that
yes,
one? If
yes,
Heaven Was a
yes, yes,
Playground.
yes,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah, man.
of
That's a
course.
classic. That's a classic.
Yes, yes.
But
That was is that's the one with DB Sweeney. He goes to like an inner
I
city and picks up that guy. That guy's the quarters on top. Is that the one?
yeah, I think that's
Yep,
the one. Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
yep. Bo
If Heaven
Kimball.
Was a
Bo
Playground.
Kimball.
Yeah, Bo Kimball. Yep. If
Yep,
Heaven Was a
yep,
Playground.
yep, yep. And oh my gosh, the one above the rim.
Above the rim.
Above the
Yep. Above
rim.
the rim.
Was
Hey,
that was that the one with Tupac? Wasn't that above the rim?
yep.
Was
That
the
was
one
the
with
one.
Tupac? Yeah,
Yep. Do you
yeah.
ever remember?
Not
Yeah. Do you ever remember Rebound, The Legend of Earl the Goat Manigault?
Yes,
Oh
yes,
man.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Man, Don Cheadle. That was one of
Don
Don Cheadle's
Cheadle. That was
first
one.
movies,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh, the Basketball Diaries. Um, oh, what was that? And this is one too. When I saw the movie, and Spike Lee is such a great director,
Yeah, he
such a
is,
great
man.
director.
He
How
is.
he honored Booger, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
had him in that clip, the very intro clip of He Got Game. Remember? And they were
Yeah.
showing all these different basketball legends, and they had Booger in there. Uh, man,
Oh,
remember?
at the beginning.
Yes,
I
yes.
have
I
to go
can't.
back and look at it, man. I have to
Yes,
go back and look
bro,
at it.
you don't understand how obsessed. I had them all on VHS. I was watching them religiously. I was taping games. I could not play basketball to save my life. I would loved it so much.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, man. That's cool. That's cool though. Look, I was there with you. What maybe not quite as maybe
Obsessively.
listening to you, I may not have loved it as much as I thought I did, but yeah, I definitely had hoop dreams.
It
But
was
look,
Hoop Dreams. That's it. Hoop Dreams. That's it. Booger. He's from Hoop Dreams. That was the
that
name of
was
the documentary. Hoop Dreams.
that's
That's it.
funny,
Because it
man.
profiled two different
That's
players.
funny.
Booger
Yeah.
was the other one.
Yeah, I do remember who. Yeah, and they were it was profiling them one day. They were trying to go to college. They went high school, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
But listen, bro. Hey, man. I got
You know I
look.
want to keep going. I know
It's a
you got to do
Sunday,
it.
right? It's a Sunday today, right? We got to get
I
ready.
know,
I'm
I
about
know.
to go. I'm gonna try to get a quick job in, and then got
You're gonna.
Sunday school teaching Sunday school today, so
Oh
got to
man,
go
I'm
finish
sorry.
getting ready
Yeah,
for Sunday school. No, it's
yeah,
all good.
yeah.
It's all good, man. This is what we do. But yeah,
If anything, I'm gonna make you sprint today because took you off your time schedule.
yeah, man. Yeah, no
See,
doubt, no
thank you. You're
doubt. There
welcome.
we go. Thank you, sir. That's a pound. That's a
That's a
pound.
pal.
All right, love you, bro.
Love you, bro.
Enjoy your day, man. All right,
All right.
peace.